Hi and welcome. Happy September 3rd. It is just officially past Labor Day for those of us in Canada and the US. And for many of us, it's like the start of a new year. I want to welcome you back to work and back to school in this month's first of several virtual book club calls for Coaching Business Builder and PlanDoTrack. I'm the author, of course, of these two books, as well as Effective Group Coaching, From One to Many, Best Practices for Group and Team Coaching, and Effective Virtual Conversations. I have to say, I love this time of year. As sad as I am to see the summer go, and many of you have probably been following me in my remote adventures all summer, I do enjoy getting back to my main remote office. I work very remote all summer. It has its own tech challenges. It is a trade-off, but it is nice to come back to an urban area where I can really depend on a lot more of the technology. Now, so much of this for us as remote workers, as entrepreneurs, perhaps business owners, even remote workers in general, it's about getting back to routine. And I can't say enough about the importance of routine and schedule. As I write in both Coaching Business Builder and PlanDoTrack, about the daily steps plus a consistent action that creates momentum. Daily steps with actions undertaken in a focused, consistent way that gives us the momentum to get things going. It is important as well for us to take things to the next level and to also renew. And that's what I've been doing for the last few weeks. I did take some time off, and I'm really excited to be getting back into my fall routine. So today's focus is about 6 focus areas that I think might be of interest to you as a business owner, as a remote worker, and I'm going to talk a little bit about developing habits for fall. So we're going to look at getting organized. We're also going to look at some time management tips, routines and habits, looking at exercise and renewal, because we can only keep things moving as much as our prime is pumped. We're going to look at relationships and also about getting more results. Remote work is not for the faint of heart. And as much as, a lot of people said, oh, remote work is dead, IBM has brought people back. If you check out the Harvard Business Review edition from the summer of 2019, they're talking about everyone going remote. You hear the dialogue around climate change. And I say this probably a bit of an incendiary comment for many, but one of the reasons why I wanted to start my own remote work business 15 years ago was because I spent 15 years of my life before that traveling around the world with the UN. I saw the firsthand impact of my own personal travel as a manager, as a director, on flights every day. Some weeks I was in 5 or 6 countries a week. For the last 15 years, I've minimized my travel. I rarely travel by plane more than a couple of times a year now. In fact, the first almost 9 years that I was back in Canada, I did no international travel. I was just traveled out. And so remote work really, it's all about choice, right? We can really design our own workspace, but that's part of the challenge. And I want you to be thinking about, how is your workspace working for you? Do you have everything at your hand that you want and you need? One of the things I love about working truly remote summer from up north is my workspace is small. It means that I have to pare down what I've accumulated, as well as I have to be very strategic of what I can even put physically in the office. When I get back to my main office here in the city, I become very aware of all the things that a 15-year-old business has accumulated. Now, some of those things we need to keep from legal perspectives, but many things shed. And so think about your own workspace, what's going to help you be organized. Do you need more lighting? Do you need more clear desk space? Do you need more filing space? Is your workspace connected to your home space? And if it is, how do you manage things like pets in the background? Are there doors that can close? Are there too many visual distractions? Our home space is our home space. And I think as more and more people work remote, we're going to really be seeing truly what flexible working hours mean. One of the things that I love about being my own boss and working with people globally is that I can start my day super early. In fact, back to work 5 a.m. I haven't done 5 a.m. calls for a couple of weeks. It was difficult to get up, but now at 3 p.m. I'm almost done my day. Welcome my son back, his first day in high school. It was a big day for him. I'll see him in an hour when he gets in the door, and I'll be able to focus on having quality time with him. Yes, I can come back in and upload things, do whatever I need to, but I can also shut the door. And looking at the world of commute, it's not only an environmental impact, but it's a time impact. And talking to many other parents this morning, you know, after we left the school this morning, I was able to come right into my office, start my calls, do 4 hours of calls, and then welcome the door. Many of them had an hour or two commute to get into the office. So what is the cost of commute time? Are you using that commute time? It's interesting, in our area, there's a new ad out where they're really marketing for the commute time and using that because people aren't driving but are on a train, using that in a way which is adding value. So maybe you do have a commute only a few times a month, a few times a year. How are we doing that, and how is it working for us? Hopefully in remote work, our family and significant others aren't creating tension. I say this pretty transparently. You know, in working all summer remote, working with a multi-generational family in the background, it means that I'm only available in certain hours when I can ensure that they are out, when they are active and doing other things. And so you have trade-offs, right? I think in any work there are trade-offs, and in order to get your work done as it is in the remote world, you need to be really focused in on results. What is the end product? What are we doing? Do I need to spend the same amount of time? Does it translate to the same amount of time? Sometimes I can get done in this office in 30 minutes what it might take me an hour and a half to do up north. Or if I'm going to a client's office, it might take me 2 hours because I'm getting interrupted regularly with people dropping in, saying, hi, can we have 5 minutes here? And while relationships are important, as we really start to look at time usage, you might be pretty surprised at what you're seeing with the amount of formal and informal meetings and how much time is being spent with that. Another thing to think about is like getting organized, and that's the landscape and the outdoor environment. And you might wonder, well, why are we putting landscape and outdoor environment? You know, certainly in remote work, we can work from many different locales. Depending on the type of work we do, we might be able to take our work outdoor as long as it's a secure environment. We might be able to do calls from even outdoors at certain times of the year. How are you organized with that in ensuring privacy, utility, etc.? A lot of this is contingent on the systems and computers and devices that we use. Again, going back to my son, again, his school is moving into the blended learning environment. Some of their education is now being done all online. That started for his school last year, and he sort of looks at me as a very old school person saying, well, you know, printing, can my system sync with your printer? I like to consider I'm pretty tech savvy in the work that I do. I do work remote off of multiple devices all the time, but we do have limitations. And I saw that myself 3 weeks ago when my Windows went down and it required an update through the internet. It's almost a day for that to happen. So getting organized is key. What's your contingency? What's your backdrop? You have to eat. You do need breaks. We do need wardrobe that is appropriate. I have never showed up at work in my pajamas. That's sort of the joke of the remote worker. But we need to show up as we show up in our face-to-face world. And I don't want to say it's a real world versus a fake world. The work that we do in a remote space is just as important as the work we do face-to-face. So organizing, coming through many of these different areas, I want to speak a little bit more to some of them. Just take note what's of interest to you. Workspace organizing. How are you managing your projects? Do you have white space to note them out? You can't see it, but I've added a project board over sort of towards my doorway just to keep a lot of the different groups and the different writing projects on board. And that allows me, as I step into the office early every morning, to really look at workflow and priorities so that I can delegate onwards to my team. My team, of course, is also remote. So it's really important that I'm thinking ahead so that I use their time effectively. Now, date times focus. When are we on? What are we doing? When do we need to bring on team members, either in an assistant space or also a space where they are subcontracting, etc. And we do want to think about those things that are going to work for us, as well as email and phone. Now, I've left paper for separate because I say this again every summer. I sort of lug boxes out of archive to think about what needs to be shredded, what needs to be taken. I do physically take it out of this immediate office space so that I can look at it. And I'm sure that you also have paper that needs to be filed, archived, or shredded. Years ago, I ran a great program with a professional organizer, and she talked about the raft routine. And so her name is Helen Buttigieg. She had a TV show for many years called, I don't want to call it Neat, but look up her name, Helen Buttigieg. And she talks about the raft paper organizing. So what do you read? What you need to action? What should you file? And what should you toss? Paper can be a great distractor for those of us that are visual and tactical. We may have a lot of notebooks. We may need to see it. I think this might be an area that you might want to streamline this fall, chunking it down to 15-minute windows a day. It doesn't have to be done in one fell swoop. Imagine if you focused on one of these areas for 15 minutes a day. Your home space, right? How are you dividing the areas and what could draw some attention? I've talked about the commute and the importance of family, significant others. Systems, computers, etc. So let me switch over now into the area of time management just for a few minutes. Have a copy of Coaching Business Builder or PlanDoTrack. You'll notice that I have several sections around time management. Really, section 4 is all about time management tools. You might want to embark on noticing this for where your time is going. A lot of authors going way back to Stephen Covey, then flash forward to people like Laura Vanderkam, have really encouraged us to think about how do we track our time. If you're on my PlanDoTrack newsletter, you would have noticed one of the bonus downloads a few months ago was a time tracker. If you're not on the mailing list, definitely head over to PlanDoTrack. Make sure you subscribe to the PlanDoTrack newsletter. It only comes out once a month. You know, time is very interesting. We probably are spending time on high yield outputs and low yield. The bottom bullet here is all about the 80-20 rule, Pareto's principle. Where are we getting our most impact? And I think going hand in hand with time tracking, you'll want to think about where are you getting the impact in your work? And how does that match up with your natural body flow? I've started and already shared, you know, my days start early. My circadian rhythm really is programmed to be an early bird. That was not my natural state of being, but after living for almost 15 years in the Caribbean and working there, at dawn and down at dusk, you know, that was really the pace of life. And I've continued that on in Canada. It may mean that my light is on in my office from 5 a.m. until 7 a.m. as it was this morning. But I know that I can get my best work done there. And we do want to think about, you know, boundaries in our work as well. So what are the boundaries? What are the things you want to put into place to help you be more effective this fall? A lot of this goes into, you know, the habits, doing things automatically. My habit of getting up and being at my desk for 5 a.m. is a habit. Stepping back to it after 2 months away from it was hard. Like, really, I wasn't getting up at 5 every morning up north. There were 2 weeks when I was sleeping in, gladfully. And we do know that habits don't just take 21 days to form. They really take more around the 66-day mark, although that varies. Renewal is key within our work, right? And so before I get to habits, just want to also get you thinking about what's going to help you be at your peak this fall. Part of it is habits and getting into just developing things that just naturally. It's just natural that I go to bed early and get up early, especially when I'm in this context. I leave this physical building, my body clock changes, but I'm sort of wired into it. And certainly part of that is also about renewal. So one of the reasons why I enjoy my remote work during the summer months is because I have a different routine. It's good for me to not have calls every day. It's good for me to be able to focus more on my creative pursuits and then be able to put those away. So think about what helps you renew. Do you get out and walk? Do you get out and swim? I have to say a few weeks ago, last week actually, it was really nice to get back to one of my pools here and see the ladies, as I call them, some of the ladies that I swim with 3 or 4 times a week. And it was only, you know, the summer that I was gone for, they hadn't seen me, and it was just really nice to be welcomed back into that community. So habits are things that we do on a consistent basis. They become automatic, which means that we have less effort over time. That really can build up some space for creativity. creative living. I think there was like some creative thought here. Creative living, creative longevity can happen when we go on automatic pilot. And part of habits is also about scaling. It allows us to do things foundationally, so we focus our energy not on getting it done, extra effort on that, and focusing on other things. And we notice, if you look at some of the storylines, I'm sure you've heard people point to people like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs wore the things, wore the same outfit uniform every day because that's one less decision we have to make. And there is an energy cost in making decisions. So when we build up habits, maybe the habit is going with putting out your clothes every night or putting them in a specific part of your room, making that decision, we're able to put our energy towards other areas, and that helps us with scaling and keeping things moving. As I said, the consistent steps and momentum and focus is really key. Now, all of this is driven by our engine. If we are tired, that's going to show up in our work. I know that there are times of the year when I have to be really on in certain arenas of my work and where it can be off in others. And exercise, for many of us, is the fuel that keeps things going. I realize that I am such an outdoors person. I love being outdoors. I feel very constrained, in fact, when I'm indoors all day. And it's a bit ironic, that I've chosen to come back, live in Canada, at least for this phase of my life, because we're not, as beautiful as our weather is in the summer, and we can enjoy that, come another few months, I'm shoveling my driveway, exercise in part, but it's just not as healthy a lifestyle as my life was very much in the tropics. What are you doing to keep your body at prime? What is helping you? Are you tracking it? One of the best gifts I got 2 years ago was my Fitbit, and I've had a couple of those devices now, but like, what are you noticing around exercise? You've probably heard my story of my own surgery a little bit more than 2 years ago now. And, a lot of that, I think, was exacerbated by a very sedentary lifestyle of being on a screen all the time. So are you moving around? Are you building that into your programming in some way? Area 5 is relationships, and we don't operate in a vacuum. No person is an island, as I write in PlanDoTrack, sort of just tweaking that phraseology. We operate and live within relationships. We also want to be very clear on our results, because in remote work, you may be part of multiple matrix teams. And in being part of multiple matrix teams, we need to be able to know what is the priority, whose priorities way up. That is really contingent on our goals and the results and the success measures. Any remote worker, not just a leader, needs to become very good at asking questions, at listening, and learning more about the context we work within, because all we see is our time on the screen. So Area 6 is about results. I'd like for you to think about in this fall, we've covered quite a few areas. We've looked at results, relationships, exercise, habits, and renewal. We've also looked at time management. And these 6 areas of systems, what are the areas that are important for you this fall? What's going to help you be at your prime? The whole layer that comes over all of this is having a plan. As we step into the fall, I'll be doing a lot more of our business planning sessions. You can certainly join me for those. I'll scroll on down here just to remind you of the different supports that are available. Me for things like one-on-one coaching or VIP days where we actually map out your building, your foundation, look at how we can help you get there. There is, of course, the Coaching Biz Growth Lab, which is a group coaching process for business owners, or the PlanDoTrack virtual retreats. One of the things that I was really excited about this summer is that there are a number of PlanDoTrack facilitators now who are certified in this work. They are across the US, and they're their own independent businesses, but also offer PlanDoTrack as a resource. I'd be more than happy if you're in the US and want someone to work with you face to face. They are on both coasts, so they could serve you in through their own businesses. So definitely check that out if you're interested in another great plan and great planning product or tool. I think that might be of interest for you. So again, we've looked at this notion today of our fall habits and schedules, looking at consistent action, daily steps, plus focused attention can create the momentum we want. And it's just like the dominoes, like how does our momentum become additive in getting things going? And if you're interested in taking your impact further, definitely check out the early bird rate for the October 1st PlanDoTrack Coaching Business Builder Planning session. And that includes hours of virtual training sessions that are live that I do as a group, whether there's 3 of you or 10 of you. We're going through either PlanDoTrack or Coaching Business Builder. You have your choice to become certified in one or both. And both of them come with a 110-page facilitator guide going deeper into the resources and exercises. You really will leave with your own mini toolbox. Looking at our first inaugural group, loved the training. It's really a very deep dive, giving you a lot of resourcing live, and what I've built out in the last couple of years around this whole body of work that you can use in speaking, in coaching, in group work, in individual work, whether it's in person or virtual. It is now also approved by 24 hours of continuing coach education with the ICF. So 19 hours of that are core competencies and 5 hours of resource development. So I'm sure that will be of interest to several of you. Check it out, PlanDoTrack.com. Look for the facilitator training link, and coachingbusinessbuilder.com. That's it. I'm keeping this one brief, succinct, to the point, 20 minutes or less. Hope that you found this valuable. I'll be back to my regular Monday routine from 11 to 11:30. Most Mondays you'll find me back here in the Zoom room for our effective virtual conversations, Coaching Business Builder, and PlanDoTrack calls. And with that, have a great week, everyone. Take care.